It happened on a Saturday evening, the kind of night that starts off warm, filled with laughter and clinking glasses, only to twist into something you can't ever forget. Our living room was buzzing. Friends gathered around, drinks flowing, stories bouncing off the walls. I was proud that night watching my wife Claire effortlessly make everyone laugh. She had that charm, magnetic, quick-witted, and just the right amount of playful. But then she said it, a careless joke wrapped in laughter, but it landed like a blade. Someone mentioned trust in marriage, teasingly asking how we handled it. Without missing a beat, Claire laughed and said, "Oh, if I ever cheat, it'd probably be with Jake." The room erupted in laughter. Everyone except me. Jake, my best friend since college, chuckled awkwardly and took another sip of his beer. But I could feel the air shift. Beneath the noise, I heard it, the quiet crack in my chest. I forced a smile, pretended to find it funny, but inside something was changing. Her laughter didn't stop. She doubled down, adding, "Well, at least I'd pick someone he trusts." Everyone laughed again, louder this time, as if mocking the very idea of loyalty. I laughed, too, just enough to keep the night moving. But my silence afterwards spoke more than any outburst could. The party wound down hours later, but her words refused to fade. As our friends left, their laughter still echoing down the hall, I stood by the sink, rinsing glasses, watching the last drops of wine swirl down the drain. Red like the slow bleed of trust, Claire came up behind me, arms wrapping loosely round my waist. "Hey," she murmured, her tone light. "You know, I was just kidding, right?" I didn't turn around. "Yeah," I said quietly. A real crowd pleaser. She hesitated, waiting for me to soften, but I didn't. The silence stretched between us, heavy and unspoken. The next morning, she acted like nothing happened. Coffee brewed, sunlight filtered through the curtains, and she hummed along to a song on her phone. The picture of normally. But for me, everything felt off balance. That night, I met Jake at our usual spot. He looked uneasy, almost guilty. "Man, I didn't mean to laugh. It just caught me off guard," he said, rubbing the back of his neck. I nodded. "Yeah, I get it. But you know what's funny?" He looked up. "She thought it was a joke. But what she doesn't realize," I said, leaning back, "is that sometimes the joke becomes the truth people hide behind." He didn't say anything after that, just sat there staring into his drink. And for the first time, I realized something. It wasn't the joke that broke me. It was how easily everyone laughed. A week passed, but the tension between us only grew thicker, invisible, yet impossible to ignore. She tried to make small talk to laugh the way she used to, but the sound no longer reached me. The trust had drained quietly, like air leaking from a punctured tire. One evening, as we sat across from each other at dinner, she finally asked, "Are you ever going to let that go?" I set my fork down, met her gaze, and said, "Tell me something. If I joked about sleeping with one of your friends, would you be laughing right now?" Her face fell. The sparkle she once carried in her eyes dimmed. "You're overreacting," she said softly. I shook my head. "No, Claire, I'm just reacting. You crossed a line that you don't even believe exists." For a long moment, she didn't say a word. The silence between us was no longer awkward. It was final. That night, I packed a small bag and left. I didn't yell, didn't argue, didn't explain. I just walked out. Sometimes the loudest response is the one that leaves an echo. A few days later, she texted me. "It was just a joke. You're really ending everything over that." I stared at the message, then typed back. "You joked about betrayal. I just showed you what the punchline feels like, and that was it. No grand ending, no dramatic closure, just a quiet truth. Some laughter doesn't fade.